for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. We'll stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Led by Mr. Mulcahy.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moves us down to special recognitions and presentations. We have two tonight, but one is not here tonight. Emily Crislip will put her on a future board meeting. Item B, Quentin Pennington received a scholarship to Yale University through Questbridge National College Match Program. Quentin?
I just want to say he's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
He's a big deal.
Very
He
good.
is a Liberty High School student, and so this is like, it's fitting that she's here. I think she probably was with you for a few years, right? So, but anyway, this is a full scholarship to Yale, and it's through Crestbridge National College Match Program. How did you get involved with this? Did they seek you out, or?
My counselor convinced me to apply for it, and then I took the opportunity, and I was able to luckily make it.
Wow. So he took the initiative and then he went ahead and applied. You know, you didn't have to do that. So he took the initiative and applied and got it, and it really paid off. So you are an excellent representation for Harrison County Schools, and we're so proud of you to say that you're part of our school system.
Thank you.
So I want to give you the certificate of achievement, and it's got your name on there, and it's got our board members, which is Mr. Hamrick, he's our president, Frank Devano Jr., our vice president, Doug Hogue, a member of the board, Mary Frances Smith, she is online right now, and Tom Tucker is also a member of the board. And so we appreciate you very much, and you're serving Harrison County very well.
Thank you.
So we'll do a couple of pictures, and then,
What fields do you study?
what field are you going to study? Do you know?
Mathematics or computer science.
Oh, man, math and computer science. We love it. And do you have family here? Folks here?
My mom, my aunt, and then
That's okay. You don't have to be nervous. And I will say, you know, kids are where they're at because of the support and things that our families provide. And do you agree with that? Right. Get you right here. Yeah, so we're proud of him. Thank you.
Thank you.
You get a quick picture?
Mr. Harrod in here.
Oh, yeah. Robert Harrod is the
Must have
Western
picked a guy.
principal. Yeah.
I'll jump in here.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
He's our Liberty
Trust me.
principal. Yeah.
You guys want to come up? Take a picture of them.
Might go up. Come on. You want to watch here? Right? I'll let you stand on it. I'm dressed for this. He's a big deal, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. All right, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
If that brings us down to item 4, delegations, and we have several speakers. Notice to all speakers who appear before the Harrison County Board of Education. Speakers before the Harrison County Board of Education are asked to express themselves in a civil manner at all times, with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by the content of your comments. While it's not the intent of Harrison County Board of Education to stifle public input into deliberations, all speakers should be aware that if your public comments made here today violate the rights of any other person, especially under laws of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally and individually responsible. If you're unsure of the factual nature of any claim, comment, or allegation you're about to make, the Harrison County Board of Education strongly encourages you to consult first with legal counsel, and that was passed by the Board of Education July 1st, 2016. With this, several speakers. First, Stephen McElroy, and each speaker has 5 minutes. And the clock, sir.
pass these things out early, so it wouldn't take up my 5 minutes. This presentation is regarding SEL. From a case of social and emotional learning article, October 30th, 2023. The author states, social and emotional learning is a process through which children acquire the knowledge, attitude, and skills necessary to develop healthy identities, empathy, maturity, self-regulation, supportive relationships, and decision-making skills. Though it's become a staple in schools across the nation, the author states, I did not know much about SEL until a couple of years ago when I joined the board of the Morningside Center, an organization based in New York dedicated to working with educators to build students' social and emotional skills. Cassie Schwerner, Morningside's executive director, states, social emotional learning creates a space, or as we say, a container, that allows students to voice their feelings and generates a sense of connection with peers and adults. We know from neuroscience that having a sense of belonging and safety are critical for the learning process. As any teacher will tell you, a student in fight or flight mode is not interested in learning what could be better for students. Ms. Schwerner, however, cautions, as an educator, if I don't have social and emotional competency, if I'm not able to manage my own anger or anxiety, I'm not going to react well or make good decisions on behalf of my students. She advocates counseling and training for teachers to come to grips with their own feelings and belief systems to properly present SEL. Thus, SEL's applicability to adults conjures a bitter realization, which is that everyone, adult and children, could use some mental health treatment when it comes to these issues, especially these having psychological impact affecting children. I have mentioned at previous meetings that discussing adult political issues in classrooms like climate change causes stress, anxiety, fear, and depression in adults and is making emotional wrecks of our children, causing them to act out at home and school. As a parent pointed out, I think it was John Smith here at the board in a November 2022 meeting, dealing with the political issues takes away from time spent on real education and harms student achievement. From an article, The Controversy of Teaching CRT in K through 12, the author, Julia Chow, February 27th, 2023. Chow has taught CRT for several years and racial injustice for over 2 decades in colleges and universities. Chow cautions about teaching CRT in K through 12. Some have strongly pushed the teaching of CRT in K through 12 schools as a way of explaining this systemic and institutional racism still evident in our society, in our schools, and she cites King of 2022 and Vickery and Rodriguez of 2022. As valuable as CRT is as a tool for understanding, I fear that teaching CRT to young children may have deleterious effects because introducing students to the realities of social inequality too early will raise doubts in their mind about the notion of education equality. This, to me, is another adult political issue about which children do not have the knowledge or experience to effectively understand and process. Another issue creating emotional wrecks out of children. Math is said to be racist. However, liberal experts in the field admit math itself is not racist. What is racist are the biases against females and students of color with respect to their perceived capabilities toward math, no matter the race or sex of the teacher. Biases against female and Black students' abilities in math exist. Thus, math teachers need to have counseling to root out and understand their biases. The answer liberal educators deem as necessary is to turn our public schools into mental health and social worker training facilities, not only for the children, but also for the teachers. This, they suggest, is what is needed to then be able to allow student achievement to improve. The latest promise in a long litany of failed promises to improve student achievements. We need real education, not the same old, expecting a different outcome. Thank you.
I gave you an extra minute because
Thank you very much.
I knew where
I
you were,
appreciate that.
where you were at. Valerie Nichols.
Hello. Okay, round two. So I know I was already here a couple weeks ago. My name is Valerie Nicholas. I'm a parent of a current RCB student who is struggling due to his disabilities. My son has not had it easy, as he was a victim of a wrongful displacement, which led me into a due process and ended up with a favorable decision in 2019. Then my son was attacked by a cop that lived on school property, placed in a headlock, handcuffed, all on RCB property, transported to the local precinct in the back of a cop car just for simply walking through a yard that belonged to the public school. Officer was allowed to retire afterwards, and the officer did not, to my knowledge, have to pay a bill at the Harrison, because the property that he was living at was paid for by the Harrison County Board of Education. I would like to add that how that officer was not an active PRO at that time. Now, my son has had some struggles, both by the school and with his disability. My son has oppositional defiant disorder and ADHD. Since he was in elementary school, he is very smart and attends regular classes. However, when it comes to his impulsive behaviors and he acts out, he is disciplined with ISS, which I feel is likely putting my son, ISS is like putting my son in a jail cell. And this is where he sits in a room all day long. He misses all in-class assignments, socialization, all because of something he did in class, whether it be defiance by not handing over his phone, or being impulsive and going into other classrooms to say hi to all of his friends. I would love to research out how those who go into ISS who have a disability and how many of those with a disability are given chronic in-school suspension discipline action. Now, if this was someone who did not suffer from a disability, like I, for instance, I would do my ISS and hope to never do whatever got me there again. However, this is a child with a disability whom is impulsive, that he does the same offense over and over and over. Sadly, not thinking before he acts about what he would be stuck in a room all day for days on end for that same offense. This obviously is causing more harm than good. As last time I spoke here, he was failing, and he continues to fail because when any child with a disability gets behind, they get overwhelmed easy and give up. And my son is one of those. So his constant disciplinary action of 16 in-school suspensions, and as of tomorrow, 6 out-of-school suspension, has hindered his right to a free and appropriate education, segregating him to a room all day with a stack of papers with no help. My son states that the teacher may come down with one time and explain it, and then he asked ISS teacher to call that teacher again, and they never return. So he sits there for hours doing nothing. No wonder he sleeps in ISS. I now refuse to allow my son to sit in a room all day in segregated environment, and learn absolutely nothing. I stress that this issue that is going missed, and that we are not looking at the children who suffer from disability like my son. When it comes to disciplinary tiers, we need a happy medium here. He too can have a chance at success and graduation. The disciplinary tiers is based on all children and are discriminatory for those with a disability. It may be too late for my son, but maybe not for some others. I ask that you look at the Federal Disability Civil Rights Law, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. In there, it states to make reasonable modifications to disciplinary policies for students with disabilities. Now, does that sound like it's being met when my son has 16 ISSs and 6 out-of-school suspensions? I ask that the board review the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and as a guidance, remind the public elementary and secondary schools of their obligations under Federal Disability Civil Rights Law and attention to the unnecessarily treating a student differently, generalizations or assumptions about a student based on a disability. And based on their disability or about individuals, a school may not discipline a student with a disability more severely than students without disability, unless it has legitimacy, non-discriminatory reason for doing so. So the tiers are meant for the repeat offender receive more stiffer punishment. While a child who has a disability, such as impulsive behavior, is disciplined again and again for the same thing, than a child without a disability who may learn to not do such behavior. And I am uncertain if the Harrison County Board of Education is abiding by the Federal Disability of Civil Rights Law and helping my son receive a free and appropriate education.
Next up, Joe Flyman.
Hi, my name is Joe Flyman. Sure y'all know me, I've been here before. I actually was just coming here to introduce some parents that I have met in the last couple weeks. But some things just are some pressing that I really just want to bring up. You probably all know that there's some House bills in Charleston right now that have passed the House and they moved on to the Senate. I don't know if you know that or not. I hope you did, because they're all our freedom bills for our children. HB 5105 allows religious exemptions for childhood vaccines. West Virginia is one of the only 5 states that do not allow a religious exemption. And I don't know if you all knew that. And I just want to bring something up in reference to religious exemptions. I've been a nurse for 42 years. I've seen a lot of vaccine injured children, and parents have the right on whether their children should get a vaccine in their body or not. I don't think it has to do anything with medical or religious exemptions. I think it has to do with the parent's choice. And just in saying that, when my daughter, who went through infertility for 2.5 years, got pregnant, works for West Virginia Medicine, and I also did at the time, I kept my daughter from taking that vaccine for the time that it came out until September, Labor Day weekend of 2021. And she told me because West Virginia Medicine was coercing my daughter to get that COVID vaccine. And she told me that she had no choice, but she was going to lose her job. And so she took it. And she was again 34 weeks pregnant. And she breastfed for a whole year. My Mila, and I'm sorry if I get emotional, was delayed, did not walk until she was 17 months old. She had a silent seizure at my grandchild's daycare, which they caught on videotape. She was had her eyes examined because she was falling, and her eyes were so bad that her prescription was doubled. They had to do half the prescription. And she's doing much better now because they had to put her in birth to 3. That's not to mention the vaccines that my granddaughter got when she was born. And my daughter has backed off in trying to spread out these vaccines. We also had a detox. I work at an integrated wellness, and we had a detoxer with glutathione, Epsom salt baths, and many other things to get the vaccines out of her brain. Because I don't know if you all understand, but when you get a vaccine, I don't know if you know all the ingredients, but please research it because there's too many to go over. They go right to your brain. So pray for my Mila. I have 3 other grandbabies, just got 2 brand new ones, and I'm praying for these children. I don't know if you all know the number of vaccines our children get. Does anybody know a number? I don't know if you're allowed to say yes or no. Does anybody know?
14.
No.
So they finish school.
No.
We're up to 52.
Actually, I have an
Please
update. for-
correct, yeah, to the.
Just to let you know, there are so many mandated vaccines. The number of vaccines is 74 vaccines they get from the time of birth until they turn 18. And there's only one community that do not get autism. Back in our day, you guys, we've never even heard of autism. There's only one community. Does anybody know? The Amish. Do you want to know why the Amish do not get autism? They do not get any neurological deficits? It's because they're unvaccinated children. They're unvaccinated. They don't vaccinate their children. So I'm not going to go, I didn't mean to come up here and talk all about the vaccines, but we have got to give the parents the right to do what they need to do. The next bill was HB 4654, remove library and school exemptions that allows them to distribute sexually explicit, obscene material to children. Under current law, it's illegal for a Sunday school teacher, but not a school teacher to distribute porn to students. We have got to get these books out of our schools. They are across the country. They're not just in Harrison County. They are everywhere. HB 4313, I will come back to that, parental rights. HB 5233, women's right, stops the bathroom and sports, somebody wrote this to me, crap, defines male and female at birth. I just want to touch on this a bit. In the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 separate parents from Harrison County, one school that is a middle school, that there's 2 boys that are brothers that are dressing as girls.
Mr. Clement, was someone yielding time to you?
Oh, can someone yield time to me? Okay,
Which-
Noble. You can have my time.
okay, thank you. So in middle school, and eighth graders, or when they start 6th to 8th, anyways, 2 brothers dressing as girls. If they want to dress in their home as girls, let them do it. But this is a mental issue. We should not be allowing our children to think that they're a cat, or think that they're a girl, or think that they're a boy. God created a boy and a girl. There's no in between. And so today, when I was at Integrated Wellness, this mother told me that at Bridgeport Middle School, that there is a transgender, a boy dressing as a girl, and they're allowing them to go into the bathroom. How is this acceptable? How are we allowing this within our schools? If you're a girl, you're a girl. I mean, we're even talking about adults dressing as transgender. I'm sorry, they say it's an art. No, it's not an art. If they want to do it in their public home, let them, but it's not an art. This is an illness that we're letting our children to become cats and girls when they're a boy. And I could go on, but I'm not going to. So that's a big issue. And we need to, and there's story after story after story I can give you. In reference to the House Bill 4313, it is the Parents' Bill of Rights. Have any of you seen this yet? This is being sat on. We have 5 days left in our Senate to have them bring that to the floor. It's in committee. It's been in committee for weeks, and they will not bring it to the floor. This is so political what they're doing to our children. And as board members, as parents, as grandparents, I'm a grandparent, and I'm a mother, I'm a wife, we all should be fighting for this. These kids are our future. And going back real quick to our right to the vaccines, we're not only getting autism, we're getting neurological deficits. They're getting blood clots. They are disabled that they can't even function as a child or as an adult. I see this in the Wellness Center. We're trying to help them. But I just want to read I'm not going to read it all because you guys can do that. But the legislature finds that the fundamental right of parents to direct the upbringing, education care, and medical care of their minor children. The legislature further finds that important information relating to a minor child should not be withheld, either inadvertently or purposefully, from his or her parent, including information relating to the minor child's health, well-being, and education, while the minor child is in the custody of the school district. And if you go down onto the parental rights at the very bottom, starting with A, you can read all that. But my neighbor just sent me something last week, and I don't remember the name of they're calling it, but it's education for 8th graders. And it's saying that where they're going to show an 8th grader how the egg and the sperm makes a baby, and it goes through the whole process, and they're saying that the parents cannot opt out of that class. Why? These are our children. If I tell my 3 girls when they were in your school district that they couldn't opt out of a class, I'd be fighting. But I just want you all to read this and pray that this gets to the Senate floor. This is so important that we pass these freedom bills. These kids are our future, and we have got to protect our children. We cannot let I have 2 brand new babies, and I pray every day when my daughters go to the doctors to tell them, please take these slowly. If you're not going to just stop taking them. And I want to mention one other thing is that you want to talk about school, the number of kids that are leaving our school system. I'm going to tell you the number one reason, because I talk to a lot of parents coming through our center. The number one reason is because of the vaccines. We have, and I don't know if this is a true number, but I've heard it from many sources. We're up to 30,000 in West Virginia that are homeschooling, and more people would do it if they had the resources to homeschool their kids, because they don't want to be forced to putting these vaccines that are not proven to protect us from injury or illness. Because you have to look at all of us, and most of us in the room, I probably had a handful of vaccines through my life, and we're putting 74 when they turn 18. It's just criminal. It just is. But the only reason why I came here tonight was to but sorry, this is on my heart, and I had to give it up.
You have someone else.
Oh, Jen, give me your time. Okay. I just have one other thing, because I'm going to be giving this up. So Heather and Roger Sanders, I met them by the grace of God, because I think people bring people into your life for whatever reason. And Roger called me one day, and I'm going to leave it at that because they're going to tell you their story. Okay. Thank you.
Lon Newton.
Can they come up next? Is that okay?
Still got time.
Yeah. Are you both coming together? Or?
I think Heather's speaking, but if they both want to come
Heather and
up.
Roger Sanders.
I plan to yield my time to that.
Me too.
So we moved here 3 years ago from Baltimore, Maryland. And at first I was homeschooling my children until I heard how good the school system was here and how there wouldn't be the corruptness and immorality taught to my kids here that might have been taught in Baltimore City. And up until a few months ago, I thought that was true. My daughter, I have 2 children in the school system currently. And I have been very ill and at home a lot and paying very close attention to my youngest child because she was behaving very strangely. I had asked her to go do her chore. And instead of just getting up and doing it like she normally would, she ran to her bedroom and shoved this book underneath her pillow and then went and did her chore. And my motherhood said, go look at the book. And when I looked at the book, my brain was blown away because from my understanding and education, church, religion is separate from school. You're not going to teach my child about Jesus in school. I don't expect that because it's supposed to be separate. So if my child can't go to school and learn about Jesus in school, then my child surely should not be able to go to school and go into the school library, the books I've paid for, and pick up a book that teaches her about Satan and Satanism. And that's exactly what is in this book that she hid underneath her pillow. Chapter by chapter, it gives stories about seances, demon worshiping, she is an 8-year-old, a delayed 8-year-old with mild autism, ADHD, behavioral issues, and she is reading a book that talks about a whole family being brutally murdered, about disembodied spirit. The child already has trouble sleeping at night. We adopted her and have worked hard with her social emotional problems. This book is not going to help her with that. I mean, it goes as far as there's pictures of demons in here. There's pictures of a Ouija board so that my 8-year-old can learn how to worship the devil. And if my child cannot go to public school and learn to worship God Almighty, she surely should not be able to go to public school and learn how to worship the lowest of low, Satan himself. And I am, as a parent, feel like my rights to protect my child from learning religions I don't want her to learn have completely been stomped on. And I contacted the school. I contacted the teacher on the Remind app. She immediately apologized to me and could not believe it. And she said, I will get with the principal and the librarian immediately. This is a month's past now. Do you think someone's notified me from the school? Not one person. Every day I say to my daughter, did they ask for their book back? No. Did the librarian ask where the book is? No. I haven't heard a word about this book. And I'm waiting because I've contacted, and my rights as a mother, my child's right to not be taught religion in school has been infringed upon. And I want questions answered. Why is a book that goes against our rules being provided to my child in a public library?
If I could say, we don't interact here, but if you would, please wait till at the end of the meeting, speak to Ms. Stutler, because obviously we don't know about this.
Mhm.
If Ms. Stutler doesn't know about it, then she'll get to the bottom of it
Yeah.
and figure it out. But if you would, I mean, you can continue to speak, but I'm just telling you, if you would stay around, we'll speak to you.
And one of my big concerns with this book is it's a series. So this is only number 1 in the series. So is my child continuing to go to school and every week going to the library and learning a little bit more about Satan himself? Because right now, I'm at a point as a mother, should my child be in the public school system? She should be able to be, because there's a separation from state and church. And that's the church of
And
Satan
that's what I'm
as
saying.
well.
If you get with the
Yeah.
superintendent, because it's the
Yeah.
first, and
Absolutely.
I can assure you, whatever
Yeah.
is addressed.
And as a mother, I want to be able to go into school and look at all the books now, because I'm highly concerned. I'm going to allow my husband to take over from there because he has some stuff to say as well.
Yeah, so our daughter, I'm Roger, thanks for letting me speak. Our daughter is 8 years old, and I worked really hard with this girl and programming her into Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and teaching her about him. And I've never seen an 8-year-old who loves the Lord more than my kid. I mean, he loves the Lord. And then to find her to come home with this demonic vomit was shocking, because this kid loves Jesus so much, and I could not believe it that she brought this home. And I don't know if any of you know how this campaign started with this garbage being pushed into our schools throughout the country, in public schools and out in public libraries. And 2 foreign entities pushed this campaign for this and made this happen. They have nothing to do with this country, really. They should have no say over this country. Well, that's how this ended up happening through this country. And you guys, I'm sure, parents, most of you, as we are. And if they achieved their agenda, do you think that they're going to look out for any of you or me or any of us? They don't care about us. And that's why we all have to come together as parents, as God's children, and protect our kids from this vomit. And we're hoping that you guys do something to stop this, whether you get with other boards from other districts and other places, and come together in meetings to stop this garbage from happening and fight it back. Because these people don't care about us or our kids at all. I can promise you that. Their agenda is pretty horrid, and it's definitely demonic. It's anti-godly. And that's pretty much all I have to say. This has got to stop. This is horrific. They want to indoctrinate our children away from God and away from the parents. And if this keeps happening, think of how many kids are going to be converted into this stuff here. And I think my kid just did it because out of curiosity. I don't think she was trying to, go in this direction. Layla's a smart kid, and she loves to knowledge like a sponge, and I think she just wanted to investigate this and see what it was about. But we explained to her how wrong it is, and how this can lead and open doors of very bad things, especially for children, things that they have no idea about what can happen. It can open doors and of different areas. So I'm hoping you guys step up and fight this nonsense. There's a scripture in Matthew, I think 18:6, about these people who try to lead our kids who love Jesus and lead them into sin, about tying a millstone necklace around their neck. They should just throw themselves into the ocean, because that's what's coming from them kind of people who do this stuff to our children. And that's something to really think about, because God is real and he doesn't lie. That's what's coming for these demonic people who are trying to take our kids. So that's all I have to say. I hope you guys really fight for the parents and the kids, and your kids as well, because they're not just coming for ours, they're coming for yours.
I wanted to add one more thing when you're done,
Yeah.
sorry.
There's no immunity for any of us with these people that are doing this to our country. And our government hasn't stopped it. They've allowed it. And you know which side of the government that's allowed it.
And I want to say, if material is going to be provided for my innocent children, someone should be reviewing and somebody should be held accountable, because they allowed this book. Somebody put this book or delivered it to our school. Somebody took it out of the box and put it on the shelf. And there should be some level of accountability. To me, if you're going to be a librarian, you should be reading the books. I read a book before my child reads it. Any book in my home, I've read from front to back. And there's no reason, if the taxpayers are paying you to educate my child, then you should be reading what you're educating them. I taught for 20 years. I read every bit of material that I taught. There would never be knowledge handed to children that I was accountable for that I hadn't personally read. So this is where I'm really like, how did this ever leak its way into the school? I know it won't be returned to the school. And I don't plan on paying a fee for it either.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as I said, when we get these, it really needs to go to the superintendent, because I'm not doubting any of it. It's just we need to get the actual information.
Wonder why the school didn't tell me that when I contacted them. The principal should have probably contacted me and said.
Well, I just want her to investigate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Our delegations for tonight. Thanks for all of our speakers. And that moves us down to superintendent's update. Pepper.
Sure, I just have a few things. I wanted to remind everybody, and if you're paying attention and listening, we just put out the applications for Teacher of the Year, and it's online and it's available, so any staff member or teacher wanting to do that. Also, that's through Mrs. Mancini. Mr. Lopez just put out the one for Service Employee of the Year, so we always like to recognize our teachers and service employees for what a great job they do. So hopefully they'll apply and we'll get lots of applications for that. Mr. Lopez, do you want to give us an update on facilities this evening?
Sure, I'll just let you know that the HVAC work to the gymnasiums at Bridgeport Middle, Bridgeport High School, and Robert C. Byrd are underway. Again, I mentioned that it is a little bit of an inconvenience for the schools at times, but they're really working, the contractor's really working hard with the administration to not displace those students for their classes for very long. They're trying to streamline their work. South Harrison High School, they're also working on theirs. The problem is their switch gear is been back ordered now until November. So they think they can get enough electricity to get it installed so they can have air conditioning for their graduation. That's what the board's goal has been. All paperwork is finally in place for the sale of Robert C. Byrd House, swales and stuff come back from the DMV, and we should be able to sell it this spring. As the superintendent said, we do have service personnel of the year nominations out, and they are due back the first day of spring, which is March the 19th. And anybody can go online, Parkville DOE, and there's a link to nominate someone. So I'm hoping that our people, that we had a good turnout last year, for the nominees, and we had some really, really fantastic teachers and also service personnel that can use that recognition. We have a domestic booster station that is built at Liberty High School, and it actually lifts water up to Clarksburg, Mountaineer Middle. And so we have one estimate. We're trying to get 2 other estimates to get it fixed. It's kind of limping along, but we're going to have to get moving on that. We have a second estimate that they have guaranteed us that they would give us. The third estimate, they want a fee to come out and look at it. So work with Ms. Cons to try to get it figured out, how we can get that ordered. So if you hear anything
Is the
about
pump failed or?
No, it's it's the control module, and it is completely, it's fried, basically. Well,
I mean, is it functioning? I mean,
well, it's functioning because we're able to regulate the pressure to get it to work, the maintenance department is. So it's functioning enough right now. We just have to keep an eye on it, fire suppression system and all that pressure is
Yeah.
important. So working with Ms. Cons to try to get that taken care of soon. And again, Danny's trying to get a couple other estimates. As soon as we get those, I don't know that we're going to get anything that's very specialized, but hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be able to do something.
I think that's from 2007.
2007 when it was.
Yeah.
well, there's
There's been a lot of, I was talking to Danny today, and we were talking to the company, the systems, and the HREAs have a lot of service interruptions, power on, power off. We think that something happened to it during that process. So, and it's also, almost 20 years old.
but if it has to do with fire suppression in any way,
Yeah,
then it needs to be done ASAP.
we're
Like I
working.
said, emergencies.
Mr. Hammond?
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez, isn't this an emergency type of setting right now? How are we getting that water there?
Well, we
Is that
have
something,
We have right now it's the pressure is regulated, and we're able to adjust it to keep it moving. So, I mean, it's working right now on a temporary basis, but the weekends is concerned, and then, if we don't notice that it's not regulated properly. But Danny's sending guys out on weekends to look at it. I think we have it right now to say that we just need to get moving on it.
I think the parts or the actual pieces are weeks out too, aren't they?
Yeah, it's gonna take 4
Because
to
of the
6
pipe.
weeks to get it done.
So I mean, so it's probably
Type of
imperative
materials. there.
to get it ordered, because
Right.
in 6 weeks, it'll probably cost us more in labor to go out on the weekends than it would just to replace the pump.
Yeah, we have one company gave us an estimate, they're gonna give us an estimate, but they don't do the installation. That's what our problem is. The other company is, if they want us to pay them to come out on site to give us an estimate. So I'm gonna get all this together in a package and give it to Whitney, and then we'll be able to get it working. So just kind of waiting on that second estimate to come in, and hopefully it'll be here by tomorrow.
Hopefully.
The only other thing, well, I think this is kind of you have an update. I think you've received a packet with statements together, some information on findings.
We requested to know, the amount of funding that is from schools, and just the personnel costs only. In 23, it was just shy of $6 million, the personnel that we could not fund. And for 24, it's 7.3. And then the other packet just shows the amount of positions associated with the state documentation that they ran for us. And then I'll be giving you the other documentation Mr. Hammer got for, which was actual positions that we have in 2017 forward. I'll start that list and I'll get that to you the next tell you that the difference between 24 certified days and what we did in October and one prior to that, the professional was just off about the difference is 25.
The change, but yeah, half the position. The only other thing is just an update on personnel. Ms. Leesburg's been out delivering, realigning staff. This is our personnel season, so it's been, probably the rest of this week we'll be out finishing that up.
Those appear on the next
Yeah.
agenda.
And then we have hearings scheduled if we need them coming up. Do you have anything else to say, other than explain?
So far, it's been going very well. And so the majority, I'm more than halfway through, and I should be finished up by the end of the week. Everybody can see the notices, what's coming. And so far, it's been very positive.
This is it's a tough time of year because you're trying to judge what you need for the next school year, and you can't make changes, only this one brief period of time. So there's a lot of things that can happen between now and the beginning of the school year, but we have this short window to realign and adjust staff, so we're doing the best we can with that, and I think we're pretty,
Trying to keep them informed as to why,
yeah.
Decisions are being made. I think that's huge for them to understand.
And I appreciate the personal visits. That makes a difference when you actually go out and sit down with the employee. It's a lot better than just getting a letter in the mail. Yeah.
So.
I appreciate that.
Sorry, it says down here, the official, excuse me, the service personnel numbers are not including the 31 additional aides.
Yes, we went over that the last time.
Mhm.
And that they have funded us for them, but our personnel count, the what the funding is for 25, doesn't have those aides in there, they hired them. So,
Is there an estimate for that?
yeah, so we got the funding for it, but there's 31. So we would be over in our service personnel for 25, like total 89. We're currently at 58.
Oh.
And that's all I have.
That moves us down to consent items, meeting minutes, and financial transactions, items A and B. Is there a motion? It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New business, out-of-state professional leave request, out-of-state travel study request. Is there a motion?
We'll make the motion to approve the out-of-state professional leave request and the out-of-state travel study request. There's 3 of them. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Open enrollment transfers, approvals, and denials in front of you. Is there a motion? Accepted? Yes. So moved. Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Old business, it's the approval of the superintendent's contract. It's in front of you, a 3-year contract for the superintendent. Is there a motion to accept?
I make a motion, we accept the contract as presented before us for the superintendent.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel matters. Is there a motion to accept personnel matters?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No recusals needed? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, legal and disciplinary matters.
Mr. President, I move that pursuant to 6-9A-49 of the West Virginia Code, that the board go into executive session to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds or other matters involving commercial competition, which if made public, might adversely affect the financial and other interests of the Harrison County Board of Education.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If you want to take like 5 minutes to speak with them, so that way you don't have to sit here, because we'll come back from executive session and pretty much adjourn. This way, we'll take a couple minutes and at least get information.
Yeah, I'll let her-
And then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us down to board member comments. Mr. Tucker?
Again, thank you folks that came earlier and for the presentation and everything, for you folks that are listening at home, we certainly appreciate that. I see more out here, but thank you though.
Ms. Smith? Mr. Hope?
I just appreciate the fact that Mrs. Sutler has agreed to continue on as our superintendent for another 3 years, once she signs your document.
Mr. Devon?
I don't have anything to say.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?